If the MLS wants to grow into a global soccer league, then the transfer system and trading system that they use right now can no longer remain. Here's why. What's up, everybody? Jacob Altador here with Amateur Hour Sports, where we bring you raw and unfiltered sporting content Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So if it is your first time here with me today, make sure you subscribe right now to stay up to date with all the future content coming your way very soon. Throughout the evolution of Wayne Rooney's career, he's gone from a young, angry Scouser who, in the words of the great Pele, needed a clip around the ears, to a mental skinhead who couldn't stop scoring, to a hair transplant attacking midfielder who was composed and was very good in the build-up, and now he's all the way to his bearded philosophical stage. And this is likely the final stage of this illustrious career for Wayne Rooney. And recently, Wayne Rooney has said that he grew to hate the MLS trading system in his time with DC United, his very successful time with DC United, that is. And the reason for that being, he thought that the MLS owners took advantage of the lesser players and the younger players for their own benefit and without a worry for the player as a person. So they utilize the NFL, NBA system where you can just get traded to any team and there's nothing you can do about it. If you get traded to that team, that's your new team. You can no longer stay at your former team. And to my knowledge, this is the only soccer league in the world that operates in this way. Every other league, especially in Europe, follows a set transfer window, the January transfer window and the summer transfer window. The MLS does not follow that either. And the trading system has a big effect on players because, well, MLS players don't make nearly as much as the other leagues. Like the average NFL salary is over $2 million. The average MLS salary is about $350,000. And, there's a lot of players who are going to be much under that number because the designated player rule, which is a great rule, I think the salary cap needs to stay. But with the designated player rule, you get these high-level talents like the Wayne Rooney's, like the Ibrahimoviches, who really drive up that average. So you're finding a lot of players on the other end of the spectrum and how much money they're getting paid. So financially, they may not be able to move from LA to Minnesota overnight. And Wayne Rooney was a big advocate for this week, where he was talking about it. I believe it was in an interview with Quincy Amarikwa, one of his former DC United teammates. And he was saying he doesn't understand why this system is the way it is, because he said in his time with DC United, he really felt for the players who just got traded away without anything to say about it. And they are forced to move their entire families, maybe they have kids, across the country. And this has a big effect on morale of players and the way they play. And I think this is a big deal for the young American players trying to come up and help build into the national team that I said had been failing for his entire history. So it's difficult to really continuously perform with the cloud over your head of a possible trade to another MLS team. So I think that they need to eliminate the trading system and implement the European style transfer system, where players need to agree on the move to the different club and the other team would get an amount of money for that player, and then they can respend it however they feel is necessary, maybe as a replacement player for a new player. It doesn't matter. That's besides the point. The MLS also needs to adopt the European transfer window, where it is in January and the summer, because it would be very difficult to persuade these European teams of taking the players off their hands if they are not in a transfer window themselves able to replace that said player. And these mid-tier European players would definitely want to play in big US cities, big US markets. There's no doubt that the MLS could attract some mid-quality talent in the world, given the amount of money they have and given that the quality of the soccer in the league is improving and improving every year. But it's difficult to find and attract these players with this trading system in place. I'm not going to come all the way from Europe. If I want to be in New York or Houston, I don't want to be on a plane out to a team I didn't want to play for 6 months later because that's where I got traded. I want job security. And the MLS is slowly shifting away from the retirement league it was. You're attracting guys like Giovinco, like Altidore. You're finding some of the top young talent, like 18-year-old Ezekiel Barco going to Atlanta United. You have Almiron going to Atlanta, building up and using it as a stepping stone for his big move to Newcastle. It is no longer just a retirement league, and you can find a lot more of this mid-tier talent, but you need to eliminate the trading system so that the players who come have the security of playing in the location they wanted to play at. Because I feel the league is getting better, and it could be a lot better with more talent coming from abroad. And it's difficult for the American players to, like I said, given the morale of the situation, it's difficult for them to really build up, and it can stunt their growth if they're traded to a new team without any say in where they go, and they're just moves away from maybe their hometown. Maybe they came through the academy and all of a sudden they got to move across the country. That kind of stuff is not great for the development of the American national team and American players. And I think that is a big thing that needs to change as well. Wayne Rooney was saying it best. You can go check out his interview with Ameriqua. I'm sure you can Google it and find it, where he was talking about this very problem and how he doesn't understand it. And to be frank, because I live in North America, I understand it, but I don't think it should remain the same. I think it also needs to change if the MLS wants to grow and develop and keep this very good trajectory that it's on. It should switch to the European-style transfer systems for the betterment of their own players and for the betterment of the teams in the future by attracting new talent. The salary cap, though, does need to remain in place with the designated player rule, because in the past there have been a lot of North American soccer leagues where leagues have folded because teams overspent and could no longer sustain themselves, and the leagues ended up folding, just completely being eradicated. So the salary cap needs to stay in place, but I think you can still find some mid-tier world soccer talent to play in the league even with this salary cap if you implement the new style and the modern soccer style of the transfer system. And I don't want to hear the argument that big market teams are just going to take advantage of this transfer system because of how much money they have, because big market teams are going to stay big market teams, whether it's a trading system or a transfer system. Why are LA Galaxy always constantly one of the better teams in the MLS? Because they are a big market team. The New York Red Bulls, they can be better because they're a big market team. They can attract different players, better players. The lower market teams are going to struggle whether it's a trading system or if it's a transfer system. It's just more difficult to attract their players, and that's just the fact of the matter. That's the way it is. The transfer system is not going to enable those big market teams even further to progress their talent. Like, look in the NFL, look in the NBA. You got teams like the LA Lakers. Even though there's a salary cap and there's a trading system, the big market teams are always going to thrive above the other ones. That's just the fact of sports. The transfer system is not going to eradicate the smaller market MLS teams. In the MLS, because there are so little teams compared to, maybe England. Sure, there's a Premier League with 20 teams, but they've got so many other divisions underneath that. Those are the poor teams. The Premier League teams are all rich, and the MLS teams, they are all rich. They can afford to attract foreign quality players to their team, even if they are a smaller market. The big teams, in any sense, will always thrive, but the smaller teams can continue to thrive because of how much money there is in each of the ownership systems of the MLS teams. Comment down below if you think that the MLS should switch to a more global soccer transfer system and not just stick to the North American style trading system. I think it will be for the betterment of the young players and for the betterment of the quality of the soccer product in the MLS. Thank you for listening to another episode of Amateur Hour Sports. Make sure you like the video if you like, and subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports right now so you stay up to date with all the content coming your way very soon. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you never miss an episode. Thank you for watching again. We'll see you again next time.